Have you ever found yourself saying yes when every fiber of your being wanted to say no? Perhaps you've rearranged your entire day, canceled your own plans, or ignored your own discomfort, all to ensure someone else was happy. You might have even felt a pang of resentment later, wondering why you couldn't just prioritize yourself. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Welcome. Today we're diving deep into a topic that touches many of our lives: people-pleasing. It's an emotional need to consistently put others' desires and needs before your own, often driven by a craving for external validation, a fear of conflict, or simply an inability to utter that tiny yet powerful word, no. This isn't just about being kind. It's about a pattern of behavior that can subtly yet profoundly diminish your life. It manifests in so many ways: over-accommodating, excessive agreeableness, avoiding disagreements, frequent apologies, and a deep struggle to advocate for your own needs. While it might seem like a noble trait, people-pleasing is a prevalent topic in mental wellness discussions for a very good reason: its significant personal detriment. Our goal today is to offer you a practical reset, a multifaceted approach to identify, understand, and ultimately transform these deeply ingrained patterns. To truly stop people-pleasing, we first need to understand where it comes from. It's rarely a superficial habit. Often, people-pleasing behaviors stem from deeper psychological factors. Think of it like the roots of a tree. They might be hidden, but they provide the structure for everything above ground. One common root is low self-esteem, insecurity, and a profound fear of rejection, disapproval, or abandonment. You might believe that if you aren't constantly accommodating, you won't be liked or accepted. Another significant factor can be past experiences. Trauma, abuse, or unmet emotional needs during childhood can teach us that our survival or sense of security depends on keeping others happy. Perfectionism also plays a role, as does the pressure from cultural or family expectations to always be nice or agreeable. And there's a fascinating psychological trait called sociotropy, which emphasizes the extreme importance of relationships, sometimes to the exclusion of oneself. Now, let's talk about the consequences. While on the surface, people-pleasing might appear altruistic, its long-term impacts are far from it. It's like constantly pouring from your own cup into everyone else's without ever refilling your own. This leads to emotional depletion, stress, anxiety, and eventually burnout. Your relationships suffer too. They become unhealthy, marked by you feeling exploited, which inevitably leads to resentment, both towards others and towards yourself. Over time, people-pleasing diminishes your self-worth. You start to lose your personal identity, struggling to recognize your own true desires and values. And perhaps most insidiously, it forces dishonesty. You hide your true feelings to maintain perceived harmony, creating a disconnect between who you truly are and who you present to the world. At this point, you might be asking, how do I differentiate unhealthy people-pleasing from genuine kindness? It's a crucial distinction. Genuine kindness stems from a place of choice and self-respect. You give because you want to, because it aligns with your values, and without expecting anything in return. People-pleasing, however, is motivated by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of not being enough, or by a desperate need for external validation. The difference lies in the intention and the feeling afterward. Kindness energizes, people-pleasing depletes. So how do we begin this practical reset? Overcoming people-pleasing requires a structured and deliberate approach, a journey of small, consistent steps.
First, and perhaps most important, is self-awareness. This means becoming a detective in your own life. Identify your personal triggers. What situations or people make you fall into people-pleasing patterns? Understand your underlying motivations. Are you doing it out of fear, guilt, or a need for praise? Recognize your behavioral patterns. Do you always apologize unnecessarily or automatically say yes to every request? Journaling can be incredibly helpful here. Next comes setting boundaries. This is learning to establish clear limits and say no without guilt. It's not about being aggressive. It's about respect for yourself. Start by planning responses. Instead of an immediate yes, give yourself permission to say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." Understand that you have an inherent right to decline requests that don't serve you. Then prioritize self. This might sound obvious, but for a people pleaser, it's revolutionary. Consciously identify and honor your own needs, values, and desires. Practice self-care, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. Make authentic decisions that align with your truth, even if they're not popular. Crucial to this journey is building self-confidence and self-esteem. This means developing internal validation. Challenge that negative self-talk that tells you you're not worthy unless you're serving others. Remind yourself that your worth isn't contingent on external approval. As you grow, work on developing assertiveness and emotional intelligence. This involves learning to express your thoughts, feelings, and needs clearly and respectfully. A simple yet powerful tool is using I statements. Instead of, "You always make me do X," try, "I feel overwhelmed when I take on too many tasks." To build resilience, practice comfortable discomfort. This means gradually exposing yourself to situations that evoke that old discomfort. Start small. Say no to a minor request that doesn't really matter. Watch what happens. Often, the imagined catastrophe never materializes. This builds a new muscle, a muscle for saying no. Finally, remember the power of seeking support systems. Engage with trusted friends, family, or support groups. And don't hesitate to reach out to mental health professionals like therapists or coaches. Approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT are particularly effective in challenging and reshaping these ingrained thought patterns. Now, let's be honest, this journey isn't always smooth sailing. There will be challenges, and it's important to anticipate them. One common experience is the pendulum swing. You might initially overcorrect, becoming rigid with boundaries or withdrawing socially, which can strain relationships. Be patient with yourself during this phase. Another challenge is backlash from others. As you assert boundaries, those who were accustomed to your people-pleasing might react negatively. They might make you feel like the problem. Remember, this isn't a reflection of your worth, but a sign that the established system is shifting. A profound challenge can arise when you realize your life, built on people-pleasing, no longer aligns with your authentic self. This can lead to difficult transitions, whether in friendships, careers, or even major life choices. And you will undoubtedly experience managing guilt and shame. Saying no or prioritizing yourself after years of doing the opposite can feel incredibly uncomfortable and bring up intense emotions. Be gentle with yourself and practice self-forgiveness for setbacks.
It's also helpful to recognize that people-pleasing often functions as an unconscious attempt to control others' perceptions and reactions. We try to manage how others see us to avoid our own discomfort, rather than taking responsibility for our own emotional experiences. True freedom comes when we release that need for control over others' opinions. As we wrap up, remember that stopping people-pleasing is a journey, not a destination. It requires time, practice, and a great deal of self-compassion. The practical reset we've discussed today, from understanding the roots to setting boundaries and navigating challenges, is your roadmap. By embarking on this path, you're not just saying no to others, you're saying a resounding yes to yourself. You're choosing authenticity, fostering genuine connections, and reclaiming your self-worth. You're building a life where your needs are honored, your voice is heard, and your relationships are balanced. You deserve to live a life that truly reflects you, free from the shackles of constant approval seeking. Start small, be kind to yourself, and trust that the journey toward your authentic self is the most valuable one you'll ever take.